Hey y'all, it's Ashley with the Splash of Ashley, and I'm really just coming out here to introduce myself, introduce the channel, and just the point of my channel. Okay, I feel kind of awkward because I'm sitting in my car on my lunch break, and there's a lot of people around me, so it's a little awkward, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm just gonna film this video, just like I said, to introduce me. To introduce me and my channel. So basically, I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. I have a 4-year-old boy, and I recently moved from my hometown, which I lived for 24 years of my life. Hot Springs, Arkansas. Recently left there and moved out to Pine Bluff. And I'm not gonna say like I like the idea of coming out here because it was majority like black people versus how I grew up, majority white people. Well, hold on y'all, let me just rewind a little bit. So for starters, this channel is going to be a little bit of like a vlog diary, just me talking about like my experiences, maybe talking about my day, feelings, all that kind of stuff, like goals and aspirations, and really just a way for me to like look back on my progress and just keep track, of the things that are going on in my life. And hopefully in doing that, I can inspire other people, like-minded people, to put themselves out there. Of course, when I came up with the idea to start a YouTube channel, watching all these other content creators, you're seeing people who, I don't know, I think about the work that goes into like having to set up your camera and then push pause and then change positions and do it like that. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really have the energy for all that, for real. I just like to keep it real. Like, this is real. This is me just sitting here talking to you, expressing myself. And, I might still do like some B-roll of me just throughout my day, different things like that. But for the most part, it's just gonna be me here talking. So it might be different times of the day. I'm gonna try to upload like once a week with just updates of my life. But for the most part, it's just gonna be me just sitting and talking to the camera like this. So yeah, just depending on what's going on in my day. So yeah, I'm gonna try to upload on Wednesdays around like 6 p.m. And so that way, you guys can be in tune with me and what's going on in my life. And then also, I may try to start doing lives as well. And so if you guys want to tune in to like a live conversation, we could do that too. But yeah, that's just a little backstory. Splash of Ashley, like I said, is just a little insight into my life. Like I said, a little diary, just kind of keeping up with me and my progress for the different things that I'm going through, struggles, and like I said, goals, aspirations. Okay, so fast forward back to where I was. Yeah, I recently moved out to Pine Bluff, and anybody from Arkansas will hear moving from Hot Springs to Pine Bluff, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, why in the world would you ever do something like that? Even people from here are like, why the hell would you come here? Why not go to Little Rock, or why not go? And my honest answer is always, I have family here, right? And not gonna lie, the cost of living in Hot Springs has gone up so significantly that, like, I don't know, it's kind of like you're getting stuck in a rat race. So you literally have to either have like a really good job, and like I did just recently graduate with an associate's from National Park, but it was like an arts degree. So it's kind of one of them things where if I want like a decent paying job, I have to go to get like my master's or work my way up type shit. And like, I'm sure I probably could have did that if I just genuinely applied myself. But to start off, it would have been tight. Like, I would have been struggling, basically, just literally going to work just to pay rent. And not gonna lie, so I was living with my godmother while I was in school. My godmother, she's been in my life my like whole life. 75-year-old white lady. I think 76 actually. And so it's crazy. Like, in my spirit, I just felt like it was a time for a change. Not gonna lie, she was a little older. Sometimes we didn't really butt heads, but I think she could tell that I was like, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of was given like I was just there just to go to sleep type shit. Like, I would spend most of my day out doing what I wanted, and I would only really come home just to sleep. And part of it was because I didn't really feel comfortable there. Like, it was kind of like I said, with her being an older woman, she had a few mental disabilities as well. It just didn't really feel 100% comfortable, you know. Like, I couldn't really do the things that I like to do. I'm an adult. I like to drink. I smoke a little bit. And she's a good Christian woman, so she just, you know, I would always respect her and go other places and do these things, but sometimes I wouldn't come home until 10 o'clock, sometimes midnight, just depending. And I think she kind of felt a little disrespected by that, but at the same time, like, you know, I wasn't interfering with anything that she had going on. And yeah, but I think she just kind of felt used a little bit, so that made me feel a little guilty. But anyway, toward the end, right when around the time I graduated, it was probably like a month before I graduated for real, she ended up having a stroke, and she was in the hospital for a hot minute, and then she passed. And so that was kind of like, you know, we had already had a discussion that I was going to move once I graduated school, because like I said, she was feeling like I was just kind of there and whatever. So I was like, okay, you know, that's fair. And so yeah, when she passed, it was kind of like I had to kick it into high gear, which, like I said, I was already working to find me a place, but unfortunately with my school schedule, I was only able really to work part-time, and so I didn't really qualify for any housing out there, you know, apartments and stuff like that. So honestly, my next option was to come out here because my mom is here. I got a nephew and my older sister is here. So it was like, I really wanted to be closer to them anyway. And then also, let me tell y'all how God worked. So I was literally down. I had like 3 months to find a place. And the whole 3 months, I'm stressing the fuck out. I talked to my job about going on full time. They were doing budget cuts at the time, and so they couldn't even afford to like bring me on full time. So I ended up saying, okay, well, I have to move, and I'm leaving Arkansas, so leaving Hot Springs, so I'll probably just work up until I leave. And they were like, okay, that's fine. And I honestly liked that job. It was super chill. Like, didn't have to talk to people. I didn't have to like do like phone stuff or nothing like that. Could literally just go into work, put my headphones on, put on a movie if I wanted to, and like I was doing like data entry stuff, so I didn't really have to fuck with nobody, but people were like friendly and shit. So it was like, honestly, it was kind of like a dream job. I just wanted more hours. That was my only issue. But anyways, but at the same time I didn't, because now here I am at this job. We'll get to that. But yeah, basically I get out here. So yeah, I had like 3 months to find a place, and I'm stressing. I done applied to like every place in the world in Hot Springs. I tried to get on government housing, all that stuff, and like, I'm not gonna lie, part of me was like, the first like month and a half, I was kind of like being prideful, I guess, because I was like, you know, I don't feel like, I've never really been one to depend on shit, you know, no man, except for my son's father when I was like pregnant and like, you know, he was fresh out the womb. I was dependent on his family and stuff then to kind of help me. But once I was able to start working again, like I was on go from then. But yeah, I didn't really want to be known as somebody who was on like government assistance, because it just felt a little ratchet. I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little ghetto. And I have work ethic. Like, I'm a go-getter. And so I didn't want to, hold on y'all, is somebody calling me? Okay, y'all, I don't know who that was. They didn't answer the phone. But anyways, yeah, so I applied for everywhere and nobody was accepting me. Like I said, I didn't want to get on government housing, but like the last like month and a half, I was like, okay, maybe I should just try. Then obviously, you know, there's a wait list. So I was just like, okay, well, I don't know what to do. I came out here and was like talking to my mom. She was trying to help me find a place, and it's crazy. Like I said, God works crazy. So my mom, she was adopted, and basically most of her adult life, her family apparently had been looking for her. And my mom used to walk to work, and it's crazy. She used to walk in front of her sister's house every day, but she never knew that was her sister. They ended up reconnecting and all that kind of stuff. But long story short, my aunt had a house across the street from her that somebody was just moving out of, and she was like, oh, maybe you can come stay here. Rent was literally dirt cheap. It was like $325 a month, right? Now mind you, it looked like it, okay? The house is rough. It's very old. It's very old. It's probably like 100 years old, and this is in Pine Bluff at that. So You know, out here, a lot of shit looked kind of run down. And so this house was like blending right on in with the community, you know? But yeah, but like I said, it was literally like a month, probably not even I think it was about a month before I had to leave. The house became available. Me and my mom got it secured, and I ended up moving out here. And it all just worked out because with the rent, plus I had childcare because I got out here so late. My son was too late to enroll in like public school, which is free. So I had to enroll him in a daycare, which ended up spending $500 a month in daycare. Also, I didn't have a job for like a good month when I got out here, and God literally like gave me a job. Well, like I had got approved for a job within a month of being here, but it was like I didn't start until a month later. So it was kind of just like barely hanging on, you know. But either way, it all worked out. And I'm finally in a place where I'm feeling like financially comfortable and, you know, just making shit work. So, yeah. But now it's like I said, my house is very, like, I don't know if y'all can hear me sniffling, and like I probably sound a little stopped up because my house is old. And I'm not gonna lie, the house did have a little bit of mold in it when we first moved in. But unfortunately, I had a limited budget. I didn't really have a job when I first got out here, so I was like, I couldn't really make too many moves. And so it was okay because like I moved right at the end of summer, so it was going into like the fall and the spring. The fall and the winter. And luckily at that time everything was cold and like dead, so it wasn't really active. But now that it's starting to, we're transitioning into spring, y'all, I'm pretty sure that mold is like making me sick. And I'm low-key, like, my sister recently moved in with us, and mind you, it's only a one bedroom house. Like, it's not that big of a house. My bedroom is in the living room, and my sister is actually sleeping in my son's room. But since she moved in, you know, she been helping me with him a couple days a week, so I don't have to pay $500 in childcare. And anyway, we all been like sniffling and coughing, and I'm like, y'all, I think this mold is low-key like becoming active, because now my throat is scratchy, her throat been scratchy. My son woke up one day, like, couldn't even talk. And I ain't gonna lie, I don't even feel safe in my house for real. Like, and not gonna lie, like, it's a bug problem in that house. It's roaches. Like, bitch, on the day I moved in, it was roaches. I was just like, oh my God. But like I said, it's what I could afford. It was definitely a culture shock, I guess you could say, because I was coming from Hot Springs. It's a little uppity out there, especially nowadays. Like, you know, it's a little bougie, it's very gentrified and all that kind of stuff. So like coming from Hot Springs to Pine Bluff was like a big, like, damn, like I'm in the country, you know. And so I kind of had to like readjust. But honestly, since I've been here, now that I'm getting to a place where my money is decent, it's like, okay, God, like, I need you to work, because you see what we're dealing with. You know, I'm trying my best to make the most of what you're giving me, but all of our health is being affected. You know, I'm trying to be financially smart. I really just wanted God to like bless me with a new home, and I really want to buy some property out here, because not gonna lie, property is like cheap AF out here. You know, you can get a decent 3-bed, 2-bed house. If you look really good, you can find you like a 3-bedroom house for less than $100,000. A nice brick home too, you know. And so I'm just like, God, like, I really need you to work. I really need you to work. And so my sister and I have been fasting, and so kind of giving ourselves like 90 days to really just cleanse, detox, all that kind of stuff. It's been a little challenging. I've cheated a little bit on it, but I don't know, just more recently I've been feeling like God is like God is working. You know, like, it's some wheels turning, it's something happening, and I really feel like there's like a big shift coming in my life soon. And so I'm just trying to stay like focused. So like one of the things I want to focus on during my fast is like content, starting my YouTube channel. I honestly, like, I was procrastinating it for some years because I was wrestling with like the idea. I don't really want to become like a family channel, you know. I don't like the idea of having my son all over my social media. Like, yeah, I may feature him or like show clips or whatever, but I don't want my channel to be based on like my son, because those, I feel like, always turn out to be like toxic types of channels, and I don't want my life to feel like a job, you know. Like, I just want to be able to live my life. So for a while, I kind of started it on like TikTok, and it was doing good, but it just felt like I said, it felt like a job, because I had to keep setting up my camera, making sure I'm getting the right angles, you know, trying to get content that felt like cutesy and like people would relate to. So I didn't like that. Then I thought about, okay, well, maybe I can just do a type of channel where I am just showing my life, vlog style, and just doing all that kind of stuff. And so I may incorporate some of that stuff into this, but also it still felt like a chore, because I gotta, you know, I make sure I got my camera stand, make sure I have my camera set up before I start doing anything fun. And then not only that, but sometimes I want to be on my phone and I'm sitting over here trying to record a video. So it's just like, okay. And like, it just didn't feel authentic. It felt like I was kind of performing for the camera versus just living life, like I said. And so I started thinking about, okay, what kind of videos do I like to see, you know? And I watch a lot of videos where people just sit in front of the camera and talk. They talk about inspirational things. They talk about, you know, just positive things. They talk about their own lives, their own experiences. And so I'm like, really, I could just do that, you know, just sit in front of the camera and talk about my life and the kind of stuff that I want to do in my life. So here we are, episode 1, or whatever, video 1 of my channel. And I feel like with something like this, I can be consistent. I can talk about it. I can talk about just how I'm feeling, positive things that have happened, challenging things that have happened, and just express myself in a way that's like natural. You know, it doesn't feel performative. It doesn't feel like a job. I literally just sit down and record and maybe do a little bit of editing, but for the most part, I could just excuse me. For the most part, I could just upload, and yeah, I don't have to do too much editing or clipping. Excuse me. I don't have to do too much editing or clipping. Y'all, I'm sneezing like crazy, and like, it's killing me. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, so really, my goal for this channel is to start making enough consistent income to where I can be self-employed. I don't expect it to happen overnight. I probably give it about 3 to 5 years, but I honestly feel like with enough consistency, like, I can really grow my channel like quickly. I can grow my channel quickly. But yeah, also I can get to the point where, so like what I really am passionate about, I want to start eating healthier, going to the gym regularly, and traveling. I want to start going to different like fun family experiences, Airbnbs, hotels, activities, restaurants, all that kind of stuff, to really just promote and also just enjoy life. Like, I feel like I don't want to live life just to pay bills, and quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of a 9 to 5. So yeah, I need me a way to hold myself accountable. Hold on. Okay, sorry y'all, my boss walked out and I felt awkward being on camera. But anyways, but yeah, I don't want to keep working a 9 to 5 just to pay freaking bills. I want to be able to, like, you know, it's been a lot of days since I moved out here where I'm just like, it's such a beautiful day and I could be out here doing literally anything, you know, and I'm stuck in here working in a building that, you know, is okay, a job that I don't necessarily like, but just so I can have the money to pay bills, you know. And I know that God didn't put me on this earth to live that way. So I feel like I just have to take the initiative. And with time, this channel, you may see me, start incorporating other things into the channel that fit the lifestyle that I really want. Like I said, traveling, family conversations, family vlogs, things like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I really want to grow into. But I really just had to start, you know. I kept making excuses. I kept trying to say, oh, well, that's just this, and I need to wait till this. And I'm like, no, like, I'm just gonna fucking start, because at least then I can look back on my content and say, like, dang, I remember when I said this was gonna happen, and here we are, you know. So yeah, but now I kind of want to speak on the future, like what I see myself doing in the next 3 to 5 years. So one of my goals for this year, low-key, is to buy some land or buy a home. I really want to buy land because I feel like that will You know, with land, I can do anything. I can put something on it, I can flip it, I can do it, and it'll probably be easier to pay off some land than it would be to buy a home. And, you know, with the land, I can buy something to put on it and then build it out myself and make payments on that, you know. So, yeah, I really want to buy some land this year, and get my mom. But, like, this is the dilemma. So my mom is working, she works full-time, she's like 50 plus, and she's had a lot of heart problems recently. You know, she's having a lot of like weak spells, and I'm like, God, I need you to bless me so I can bless her. You know, I don't want her to be out here damn near finna faint, you know, from overworking and just being completely burnt out on the weekends to where she can't even enjoy her own life. You know, she working to pay bills too, and I'm like, that's not life. And my mom had a really hard life, like a really hard life. And so whenever I think of my future, even since I was a kid, I remember looking and seeing, like, in my mind, I always imagined myself being like living in a big beautiful home, you know, custom built, like 5 bedrooms. When I say like a big home, I'm talking about like, you know, like I ain't trying to cap, but like white people rich, you know, like the kind of big homes that white people be living in, and not like necessarily a traditional style home, but just like a contemporary modern, like a little bit of traditional, but you know, just a nice big home that feels comfortable, it feels plush. Like, that's the life I've always envisioned myself in as a kid. Like, and we grew up poor, okay? So for me to still, like, for me to have visions like that as a child, it's like, I just know it's gonna happen. And I know that God is he's gonna make a way for me. And I think the only way that it's gonna really come into fruition is if I align myself now with how I see that happening. And I ain't gonna lie, for the longest, I didn't really know what I could do that would put me there. And so that's what I'm saying, like, I just have to start. I do art. I started a business. Well, I'm working on starting a business called Lightly Made Artworks. And basically I do like digital, like monochromatic portraits of like people or objects or animals, and then I illuminate them with like a neon lighting behind it and like add some effects and stuff. So it just like neon art basically. And I've been playing around with the idea of that for a few years, and I feel like now it's just a matter of me like really taking it serious. And it's one of them things where like, okay, well, I was juggling, should I do it like this or should I try it like that? And I'm just like, just do it, just put it out there. Like, somebody is gonna find it, somebody's gonna like it, and as long as I'm consistent, like, I can't fail, you know. So that's another goal of mine that I've been working on. And so yeah, like, this and my Lightly Made channel are my main focuses for this year. You know, like, I have to hold myself accountable first. And one thing I've realized is, like, for the longest, like, one day I'm gonna tell y'all my whole testimony, but I've been through a lot myself too, okay? And since I've had my son, for the longest, it was about him first, always. Like, 90% of the things that I did was with him in mind. Like, I sacrificed jobs, sacrificed you know, certain schedules and stuff just to be present for my son and provide for him. And honestly, my mental health was very hard because, like I said, I am a single mom. The dad, I don't know what his deal is. I think he's just young and trying to figure it out. And he's the same age as me. He's like a year older than me, but I'm just saying, like, you know, man, it takes a little longer for them. So he battling his own demons. So it's no bad blood toward him. It's just like, I just know I can't depend on him and I have to do it. So since my son was born, for the past like 4 years, I've been out here doing it all by myself. And luckily, I've had my son's dad's parents, his grandparents, have been very helpful. They have literally saved me from like just ending it all. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I had a lot of deep depression moments, you know, where I just couldn't even, like, if it wasn't for them, I honestly don't think I would have lasted this long. But yeah, so it's just like, having their support has been huge. You know, if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would be here for real. And then also, like, I still have, like, you know, my siblings. My sister, she has a son that's like a year younger than mine. So having her support and stuff like that is nice too. But for the most part, it's just been like I've been in survival mode, you know. Just like I said, just trying to get by, trying to graduate, and trying to make sure my son is taken care of. And I think really coming out of the end of last year, like I would say from like October to now. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, but yeah, from like October to now. So like before October, I was literally just like trying to survive, you know. I was kind of smoking and drinking a lot, just trying to suppress emotions instead of like dealing with them, because it was a lot on my plate. I had to graduate school. Like I said, I'm working to take care of my kid. I'm living with my godmother who was having these mental episodes, and it was just like a lot emotionally. It was a lot of pressure, a lot of weight on me. And then I moved out here, and I was low-key depressed because my home environment was very like, it was, I ain't gonna lie, it was a little dirty. Like the house that I was in, the house that I'm in now still, it's just dirty, and it was bugs, and I wasn't happy with my job, and I'm spending $500 a month in childcare, and it's like I barely got enough to buy groceries at the end of the month. And like I was really just like depressed, okay? And I'm thinking like, well, this is just what it is. This is adulting. I just have to do it. You know, that was me up until like October. And then I would say really like October through December was when I started having like a shift in mentality. Like, okay, something's got to give. I have to do something. I have to, nobody's going to save me. No man is coming to save me. I think I kind of gave up on dating for real, because I feel like men were just wasting my time. Nobody wanted to be serious. People just wanted to have sex and be controlling. And I've been there, done that. I've been doing everything by myself for this long. So at this point, if you're not going to take some of that pressure off of my life, then you're just wasting my time, respectfully. So, sorry, there's a wasp flying around. I'm trying not to get stung. But I got to wrap this up because I low-key got to get back to work. So, yeah, eventually, especially since the year started, it's now March, beginning of March. But, yeah, I've really been in this mode of like, okay, what is causing these distractions in my life? Smoking and drinking, bad eating habits. I've been eating hella carbs and hella sugar, and you know, a lack of routine, and just lack of like self-care. So for the past like, let's say maybe like week or two, I've been really being consistent with eating healthy, trying to make time for like exercise, and for the most part it's just been like going out to play pickleball with my sister, and you know, just moving around, whether that's going for like a little light walk, doing something, getting outside, soaking up some vitamin D, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, yeah, changing my habits. I'm gonna get my membership soon and get back in the gym. But yeah, I'm just like, okay, what can I do to shift this energy? And I'm finally kind of getting to this point where I'm like, okay, I feel optimistic again. I can see the light at the end of the rainbow, or at the end of the tunnel, and like I can feel God. Like I know God is about to move. And I was just telling my sister like, okay, this weekend we have to do a deep clean. We got to go through all of our shit and literally back up anything that we don't use or we don't want, and we got to get rid of it because it's just negative energy, and I can't keep hanging on to that. So we got to get rid of all this shit that we don't use. We need to just reset, like a weekend reset. And so, yeah, and I honestly feel like God is getting ready to move us out of this house, especially with all these health issues that I've been dealing with. I'm like, God, I can't do it. Like I've done it this long. It's been a few months. I think I've done like 6 to 8 months of it at least. God, now that this finna, like, summertime is coming here, there's no space. Like, I'm doing my part. God, I really am. I'm working. I'm not being lazy. Like, I need you to save me. And I feel God, like, preparing something for me. So I'm just excited to just see what's going to happen in the next few months, to see the growth in my life and the way that God moves. And then also within the next few years, just to be able to look back on this and see how much God has, like, changed me and how much I've changed from just holding myself accountable and doing the things that I said I wanted to do. Watching it all slowly happen is going to be, like, amazing. So, but yeah, that was my introduction. Again, I'm Ashley, and if this is something you guys think you're interested in, you can follow me on my journey here. I'm also working on getting my other socials up, so just stay tuned for any updates or anything like that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to hear from you all or see you all in the next video.